What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here. I hope you're having a nice start to the week wherever you're watching this from around the world. Obviously, it was a pretty miserable weekend after that West Ham loss, just kind of soul crushing, really. Whatever hope was left feels all but gone now. And it's not the first time I've said that this season, but to lose at home to West Ham after Liverpool dropped points again, it was the final nail in the coffin. It's not mathematically over, but I don't really see where people are predicting this Liverpool fall off, dramatic fall off. Because at this point, they would have to completely capitulate in order for us to win the league, and we would also have to be perfect, and that's just not the case, right? It's not going to be the case. But anyways, enough doom and gloom. We don't really have much time to dwell, right? The games are still coming thick and fast, and we go away to Forest tomorrow, which is going to be a really tough game. Forest, of course, is right below us in the table, 6 points below us. They just lost a really dramatic game against Newcastle, but they've been one of the best sides this season. At this point in February, the table doesn't lie. And credit to them, man, because they've really just found another gear this season, and they've been one of the more exciting teams to watch, and obviously one of the most consistent teams to watch. They are still the only team to beat Liverpool in the league this season, which is pretty remarkable when you think about it, especially considering that they did it at Anfield. But not really too much to talk about, just going to talk about my starting 11 and explain a little bit more in depth why I've gone with the 11 I've chosen. So David Raya in goal, obviously Saliba and Gabriel at center back. Now the fullback situation is the one where I've changed things up a bit, right? So I've gone with Jurrien Timber at left back. Miles Lewis-Skelly is suspended for tomorrow, and Ricardo Calafiori has shown that he still has a lot of improvement to do defensively. It's no secret how much he offers us in attack. However, when we're talking about Anthony Elanga on the right wing, who's been one of the best wingers in the league this season, I do feel nervous about Calafiori defending him. And so I think that Jurrien Timber, we know how strong he is defensively, and with Elanga being left-footed and Jurrien Timber being right-footed on the left side, he could have more joy in, preventing Elanga from causing too much damage on his favored foot. Now, Elanga is still very capable of going to the byline and playing across him with his right foot, as he's done for Chris Wood on various occasions this season, but still, I trust Timber to lock him down. It's very rare that a winger gets the best of Timber. In fact, I don't really remember it ever happening for a full match. And then at right back, I've gone with Ben White. He came on against West Ham, his first minutes in a few months, really, after his operation on his knee. And, some will say that it's too early for him to start, but I don't think that's the case. And I don't expect him to play the full 90. I think that realistically, he should maybe play the first 60, maybe 70 minutes. And then we can bring Zinchenko or Calafiori on at left back and move Timber over to right back. But I think what's exciting about Ben White at right back is we can finally see Ethan Nwaneri having, a fullback who's providing those overlapping runs to give him another option, or just create more space for Nwaneri to work with, cutting inside or just doing whatever he wants to do, because he is our creative spark now. It has to be said. So those are my fullbacks. So I don't think it's overly defensive, because while Timber doesn't offer as much in attack, especially as a right-footed player on the left-hand side, Ben White overlapping does open up things in a way that we haven't seen in quite a while from our favorite right side. So enough of that. Midfield, of course, unchanged. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. Rice and Odegaard especially had really poor games against West Ham. Odegaard, I already talked about in the last video, so I won't spend too much more time talking about it. But Declan Rice as well had a really disappointing game, and he struggled going forward, especially. His decision-making was very poor, and, you just saw some of the limitations when he gets into those dangerous positions, deep into the attacking third. And I think long-term, he is more of a lone six, at the heart of the base of our midfield. But if we're signing Zubamendi this summer, complicates things a bit. But again, between now and the end of the season, we still have a lot to play for. Well, we have to make sure we finish top four, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. Up top, I'm sticking with the same front three. Leandro Trossard, Mikel Merino, and Ethan Nwaneri. you know, no one played well, maybe with the exception of Ethan Waneri against West Ham. And, Marino didn't really get anything out of the game, but no one did, right? And I just don't think we have any better options. Um, you know, Forest's center backs are very physical and strong. And I think Leandro Trossard, starting through the middle, he would sort of get lost in the Forest. You know, I didn't really mean the pun there. Maybe I did a little bit. But Marino's physicality, I think, will be very important in being an outlet for us to try to build our attack and hopefully, get on the end of a cross or two. And yeah, Leandro Trossard has shown how effective he can be from the left side. I mean, from the moment we signed him, really, but even in the last 2 months, he's really stepped up with his weaker foot from the left wing. And Nwaneri, he has been our one of our only shining lights in this dark period. That hasn't really been that, we run a 15 game unbeaten run, man. And so I don't want to sound all negative, but, that those kinds of runs can be a bit deceiving. I remember when Emery went on a pretty long unbeaten run, but the football wasn't very positive and it was kind of covering up some cracks. And the same has to be said for Arteta, man. Some of the same underlying issues with these injuries were still the case before the injuries, where we are not creating a high volume of chances. We're not really playing through the middle of the pitch. And again, you're kind of forced to play out wide even more when you're playing against these low blocks because they know how dangerous we are if teams give us that space. But still, Arteta does need to solve things. And I don't think we're really going to, hopefully we make the signings this summer that force him to address that and adapt. But anyways, yeah, not much more to say, really. We just have to hope that we're switched on tomorrow because Forest is a really tough game. And, we are pretty comfortable for a top four finish. I think I got a little bit overly dramatic, but some housemates were talking about, now we have to fight for top four. Look, Forest is 6 points behind us. If they win tomorrow, they'll be 3 points behind us, which is tricky. City's still 9 points behind us, and they've shown no signs of putting in a consistent run of strong performances and wins, especially with Haaland out injured. I don't know how long he'll be out. He could be out back very soon. I just don't know. So you have to keep in mind as well, of course, right? Martinelli will be back in a few weeks. Saka should be back in a month, maybe 6 weeks. So we will have a couple of our key players and we'll have our near full strength starting 11 within a month or so. So I don't think top four is actually in jeopardy, but still, you can't switch off in this league and we can't afford to be dropping many more points. And this team's very seldom, hits a long run of poor form, but we usually do lose in twos or threes. Each season there's that one string of that one run or two. So, we have to see how tomorrow goes, man. I don't feel confident, but I think we can get a draw. I don't think we're going to win, but hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. So let me know what you think of my 11. And yeah, I'll be with you after the game tomorrow. So until then, come on, you Gunners, and peace.